Good afternoon. Welcome to number 10 of Fierce Faith, Embodied Grace. I am Kate Shipp. I'm a Christ-centered yoga therapist. I specialize in working with people in trauma recovery and mental health. I come on live each week at this time to have some discussion, to share a little journey, to share some exercises in helping you live a life that you love. So today we're going to be talking about aligning your life with joy. I'm going to wait a little bit to see as people jump on. If you are here with me, let me know that you're here. Say hello. I'm streaming live via StreamYard. So when you type a comment and let me know that you're here, if you've registered with them, it will show up as your name. If you have not registered with them yet, it will show up as Facebook user. And then I may ask you to register so that way I can see who you are. If you don't want to register, you can certainly just type your name in there next to your comment so I know who it is. So if you're with me, let me know you're here. Good afternoon. We are talking today about aligning life with joy and how to choose to create a life that you love each day. So this is something that I have used in my life for the past 6 years. And it really started shifting how I was able to consciously create my life. Instead of life happening to me, I started making life happen for me. And some of these things are things I haven't talked about before. Some of these things are exercises that if you're with me, you may have already learned some of them. So we're going to see, I'm having some technical issues here. So I'm going to check really quickly on Facebook to see if it's streaming. So just a moment, please, if you're watching, because I'm not sure if it's on or not. Okay, it looks like it's there. And it should be okay. All right, let me know if you guys are here. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Okay, Brianna, there, thank you. I'm getting some notifications that something's going on with Facebook that's funny. So hopefully this is going through okay. So if you're here with me, let me know you're here so I know that you can hear me, that you can see me. It looks like everything's okay now. We'll see what's going on. So if for some reason I have any spam that shows up, I will remove it. Sometimes with these lives, we get some hackers coming in and making comments. And unfortunately, I won't tolerate that on these lives. So, hi Amber, good, sneaking on from work. Well, I appreciate you sneaking on. We are talking today, aligning life with joy. So oftentimes when someone comes into the work that I do, they want to create a life that they love. They want to live life with less anxiety, less depression, less pain. They want to overcome traumas from their past. They want to learn how to create life in a way that they can be enjoying it every day and not waking up every morning just feeling stressed and feeling tired and feeling burnt out. And oftentimes we make things overcomplicated. This practice that I'm going to share with you guys today on how to align your life with joy is really rather simple. And I created this for myself back in 2016 when I noticed that it was very difficult to experience joy. I had had a very small framework of emotions that I was comfortable experiencing. And what I learned right away is if someone had said to me, what helps you to feel joy? I didn't have an answer. And I was almost like I had shut off my capacity to experience pure joy because I was so scared of experiencing grief, which vibrationally is an opposite of joy. And by no means is this little teaching that I'm going to give you today about processing grief, right? That usually needs to be done in person or in a safe environment with someone that you trust. This is more about a daily thing that you can do to start living a life that you really love. And when I was away over this weekend at the ocean, which is one of my favorite places to visit, it was this awareness of some people were saying to me, you're so lucky that you got to do that. Or you're so lucky that you get to go to the ocean. And I had a moment with that. And I thought to myself, this is not luck. This is 100% not luck. This is hard work, putting in the deep inner effort to rearrange my life for peace and joy, and then choosing every day how I want to live. That's what created the ability for me to do the things that I love to do every day, to overcome complex PTSD, to be able to take these mini vacations, and to understand that we can attribute it to luck, but luck means we're not playing an active role in our life at all. If we're lucky, if you say like, oh, they're so lucky, that's discrediting all the effort, all the investment that someone has made into their own life. It's not luck. It's consciously creating a life that you love. It's being intentional with everything that you do and realizing that you're not just a pawn walking through this world, that you have the freedom to make choices. And I'm going to put a little asterisk on that because I know for a lot of people, part of their trauma wound is they didn't feel like they had a choice. And to be able to reclaim your power to choose is a part of being able to create a life that you love. So when we look at aligning life with joy, I'm going to go through that in a moment, and then how to make the choices to create a life that you love. And there's a little one statement hack that will help you in that. Okay. So these aren't like you have to go spend 90 minutes in a therapy session to learn these things. Certainly that is necessary a lot of the time for a lot of people. Please don't get me wrong on that. I've been in therapy for 6 years and I'll continue to go because it's super helpful. This is more about day-to-day things that are going to help you shift, make some internal shifts that are then going to make external shifts with your life. So first and foremost, let's check in and see who is here with me. Hi, Brandy. If you're here and you haven't said hi, let me know. So if you have a piece of paper available, as long as you're not driving, or if you have something on your phone you can open up and you want to write this down, it's a rather simple exercise on how to align your life with joy. So for 24 hours in a day, for one day, you're going to start noticing all the things that make you smile. And I want you to just write a list of those things. So whether that's you keep a running list in your notes on your phone, whether you have a little piece of paper that you're jotting things down throughout the day, and I want you to start tracking all the things throughout the day that make you smile. And then in addition on that list, I'm going to invite that you start writing down in general what brings you joy. What allows your heart space to open up to life a little bit more? What allows your body to relax and to soften? What allows you to laugh? What allows you to feel safe and social, right? What allows you to engage with people in a way where you're comfortable feeling vulnerable, where you walk outside and you're just in awe of the wonder of this creation. And it could be like things on my list are listening to the birds singing in the morning. That brings me so much joy. I love just getting so quiet that I can hear all the birds. Right? I love the feeling of the sun on my skin. I love the sound of the ocean. I love the sound of the wind. I love the sound of the certain wind chime that I have on my back patio that I was given as a gift. And it sounds like a harbor bell at a pier. Right? I love seeing my kids first thing in the morning. I love giving my husband a hug first thing in the morning. Right? We start noticing all throughout the day, all the things that open your heart up a little bit more. My dog being a total goofball, right? My cats playing and running like crazy up on the loft upstairs. We are filled with what I call joy moments all day long. We are so quick to dismiss them because it may not be this huge vacation or this fireworks experience in your life. It's the simple joys that we start stacking over and over and over again that start aligning ourselves with a life of joy. So once you have that list, right, the things that bring you joy, the moments in your day where you catch yourself smiling, where you catch yourself like just in so much gratitude for something that happened. Write that down. The next step is the challenge. And I say it's a challenge because you have to train yourself. Just like someone who's training to run a marathon doesn't start with running 14 miles. They start with running 1 mile, and then they slowly increase their capacity for their resilience for the 26.2 mile run. So the same thing when we're learning to create a life aligned with joy, we have to begin wherever we are. I began with not being aware of joy at all. And then I slowly had to learn how to train myself to look for these joy moments in life, to train myself to decide I'm going to be intentional about experiencing joy every single day. So when you have that joy list written out, and it's a continual list because there'll be things that change in your life that bring you joy that maybe didn't once brought you joy, and there may be things that used to bring you joy and they don't anymore. So we evolve and change. We are meant to, and therefore the experiences that we have are going to evolve and change. So with that joy list, the challenge becomes every single day when you wake up in the morning for 30 days, right? 40, if you'll stretch it to 40, right, would be ideal. You're going to choose one thing off that list that you are going to be intentional about doing during that day. So if one of the things that brings me joy is running around the backyard with my dog and seeing how happy he gets and how it brings out the playfulness of my inner child, I am going to make sure that that day I spend, and this is just the time amount that I dedicate, at least 15 minutes running around in my backyard with my dog. Because if I want to create a life aligned with joy, I have to do it. No one else is going to do that for me. Okay? No one else is going to say, hey, Kate, you wanted a life of joy, but you're choosing not to engage in anything that brings you joy. Whose fault is that? That's my fault. No one else's. If we start taking 100% accountability for how we want to live our life, then we start becoming a co-creator of our life experience. The great creator of God then has that say of what's going to happen. But if I have a choice between listening to music that makes me feel really sad or listening to music that opens up my heart to more joy, and I want to experience joy that day, then I better choose to listen to the music that brings me joy. So it's a rather simple process. Not complicated in any way, but it does ask you to be intentional with the choices that you're making. If you know that eating a bunch of gluten makes your body feel awful, and you know that eating a piece of fruit and a salad helps your body to feel great, and you're choosing the gluten-filled food over and over again, right, then you're not going to get the result you're looking for. So this isn't rocket science. This is really simply, here's what I say that I want, and here's what I need to do to have that. One of the questions I pose to you, and this is something that I ask clients all the time. Are you willing to do what it takes to have what it is that you say that you want? I'm going to repeat that one. Maybe write it down. Are you willing to do what it takes to have what it is that you say that you want? Meaning, you want a life aligned with joy. Are you willing to first evaluate what brings you joyfulness in your life? The joyfulness could be that ecstatic joy, or it could be that really deep, soft, abiding joy that's soulful, that's not circumstantial, that's not from a place of materialism, that's not from a place of finally getting the car you've always wanted to have, because that joy fades. The deep, abiding joy that comes from knowing that you get to choose how you live your life. That there's a quote from one of my teachers that says, we are the creators of our experience of life. We may not get to create the circumstances. There are things that happen in life that are outside of our control. We know that. but we do get to choose how we show up in it. And that is creating our experience. And that is part of why some people thrive in times of stress and chaos, because they choose, they're not going to let their circumstances determine how they experience their day. And the people that choose to let their circumstances determine their day often will find themselves very stressed out, very anxious, overwhelmed, frustrated, worried, concerned. So being able to say, this is what I want, this is what helps me to experience that, and this is what I'm going to do about it. So joy list, all the things that help you feel and experience joy throughout your day. And then for 40 days, choosing one thing, at least one thing on that list that you engage in daily. That's a way to start rewiring and training your body, your mind, your heart, your soul, your nervous system, which is what holds the energy and the memory, to experience more joy every day. So I can honestly say there's not a day that goes by that I do not experience joy, because I choose it over and over and over again. I choose to say, how can I create joy in my day? Right? When I wake up in the morning, the first practice is like, thank you, God, for the gift of this day. That is my number one thought when I wake up. Took me 5 years to train my brain for that to be the number one thought that I wake up with. And then from there, I say, how am I going to choose to create my day? If I want to experience joy today, how am I going to do that? Right? And it becomes fun. Life can become much more exciting and fun when we choose how we want to experience it. My daughter brought home this little mantra that she received from an appointment she was at. And the mantra said, I am in charge of my emotions. And I loved that. It's such a power statement. I, as the wholeness that I am in charge of my emotions. Your emotions don't get to control you anymore when you start taking control of them. Your thoughts don't get to control you anymore when you start taking control of them. When we start controlling our thoughts and our emotions, then we start to be able to create a life that we love. Because instead of the ego mind running the show, driving the bus, and the emotions kicking in that say, I have to manage this, and I have to manage this, and I have to process this emotion, and then this, it's no, the wholeness that I am gets to make these decisions. And this is where, when I was talking about before, this little life hack comes in. I'm going to share that with you next, but I want to see who's still with me here. Hi, Brandy. Good. You love the joy list idea. Give it a try. Let me know how it goes. I would love to know how it goes. I've used it with people for a long time now, and they tend to have really good results with it if they'll be committed to it. Right? It may just need, that's why I think keeping it on the phone is a great way to do it, because it helps you decide, like, oh, there's something that brought me joy. I can write that down, or I can type that down into my phone. Okay, Amber's still here with me. If you're here, you haven't said hello, let me know that you're here. We're talking joyful living and creating a life that you love, being really intentional with how you're creating each day, right? So a life that we love is created by stacking moments of joy, by stacking moments every day that bring us the things that we're seeking, right? That allow us to melt into this fullness of life that's available for us. And coming from the way I used to live every day, waking up and just in dread, waking up in this experience of, God, what do I have to do today? I have to take care of this, and I have to take care of this, and how am I going to get it all done? And my never-ending to-do list, and this person wants this from me, and this person wants, like, it was draining and exhausting. And I can honestly say I am busier in my life than I have ever been, and I am happier in my life than I have ever been, because I am being intentional with how I'm choosing to align my life. I am choosing to align my life with fun. I was talking in a text message with one of my older siblings, And he had said, well, wow, you guys are having a lot more fun than we are right now. And it was a situational thing. And I said, you're right. We are having intentional fun, meaning we are, as a family, intentionally choosing fun, intentionally saying, what would be fun for us to do together? Okay, let's do it. Whatever it may be, that's within our means. And we're deciding that we are not going to allow life to determine how we feel. We are going to determine how we feel by being intentional in how we show up in life. So this belief that it has to be complicated, right, is a lie. It's a lie that I believe comes from fear to make you not live your best life, to make you think that you're meant to live a life of suffering. You're not, right? To make you think that because of what happened in the past, you can't have a beautiful, happy, joyful life now and in the future. You absolutely can. Yes, it takes a ton of hard work sometimes, right? Which brings me to my next point of talking about the traumas of joy. And this is a part that's sensitive for a lot of people because they want to experience more joy. They desire more joy in their daily life. They're willing to make the list, but then the moment they're about to choose, I'm going to choose this today because I know this will help me feel better and experience more joy in my life, they freeze up. And they freeze up for many reasons. Because their nervous system is remembering something around the experience of joy that didn't feel safe, that didn't feel like it was okay, that didn't feel that a future experience that mimicked that was going to be safe later. So the desire to take action on that which brings joy may be met with a wall. And it's like, whoosh, here's the wall. And it keeps hitting against it like over and over and over again. And they can't break through because they're in what we'll call a freeze response in their nervous system. So first and foremost is getting that nervous system to come into a place of regulation where you feel soothed, where you feel gentle within yourself, where you can almost like take all the busyness and just bring it down. Like just slowly, 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 slowly exhale and start to bring the energy down. Right? Full inhales in, long, slow, steady exhales out. And you start to notice, when I went to choose joy, I got stuck. That's information. Right? It's not a problem per se. It's information that says, right, that's that trigger. I need some healing here. I may need some additional support to move through this piece. Joy is an extremely vulnerable and precious experience. And if a child had an experience of great joy, and then they went to share it with, let's say, a parent, and the parent shut them down. So they're like all excited. They're so happy about something that happened, right? It may be something, this is an example that others may say, well, that's so silly. That's not trauma. And I would argue with it because these are stories I hear over and over again from people, right? So example being a little kid catches a caterpillar, right? And they put it in a little container and they pop holes in the top of the container and they put some leaves in it and they're so excited to have this caterpillar. And then they go and they show it to one of their parents. They're like, Mom, 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 look at this caterpillar. And they're like elated in joy. They're asking for their parent to meet them in that joy. And let's say the parent is terrified of bugs, okay? And the parent's like, ew, get that away from me. Like, go put it back outside. I don't want that anywhere near here. In that moment, the child's joy got squashed because of the parent's fear. Not the parent's fault, not the child's fault, okay? But the parent's story of feeling afraid of bugs projected onto the child's joy, and that said joy is not safe anymore. The child starts building this story in a sweet little experience of just catching a caterpillar, that joy created anger in her parent. And so that anger then was associated with the joy. So every time that child goes to experience joy, they stop themselves, that wall, they shut down because they're scared someone's going to react in anger, almost as if I'm not allowed to feel joyful. So that becomes what we call an unprocessed emotional trauma. That joy and anger now have an association bond. And if that association bond is so strong for that little kid, they won't allow themselves to even tempt joy because they're scared they'll get yelled at. That's what happens in our nervous system. We make associations with energy. So if this sweet little child that was so happy to have caught a caterpillar now met with the mother's anger of she's scared of bugs, right? Now that child has an imprint in their nervous system that says joy could create someone getting mad at me, and that's not safe. So I'm not going to let myself feel joy anymore. That's why people get that stuck at that wall when they start to think, I want to feel joy again. I want to experience joy in my daily life. But the moment I think about looking at my joy list that you created and then taking intentional action every day aligned with that list, and you get stuck, there's something there. There's an association there that says joy's not safe because XYZ happened, and you may not even know why. And in this today, I'm not going into the depth of how to unwind that in your nervous system, okay? It's really more about this statement, and I'm going to give you guys a statement that starts to hack the nervous system when you're stuck. It's really important that you use it in this way because these words acknowledge and validate the current experience while also giving space for something new and different. So the statement goes like this, okay? Even if I feel scared to feel joy, I give myself permission to do whatever it is anyway. So if one of the things that brings me joy is going on a walk in my neighborhood, it does. I love going on a walk in my neighborhood. I love the neighborhood I live in. Okay? Even if I feel afraid, okay, to go on a walk alone in my neighborhood, sometimes that happens, okay? It's an irrational fear. There's no reason for me to feel afraid to go on a walk in my neighborhood. Even if I feel afraid to go on a walk in my neighborhood, I give myself permission to do it anyway. So I'm acknowledging the fear. I'm noticing that it's there. I'm not shaming myself for feeling it. I'm not saying, okay, you're so stupid for feeling this fear about going on a walk in your neighborhood, right? Shaming yourself in those moments is going to make you shut down even more. There's a part of you presenting that says, I have fear about this. So we meet that part with gentleness, with love, with compassion, with empathy. And we say, I acknowledge how you're feeling. Even if I feel scared to go on a walk in my neighborhood alone, I give myself permission to. Whatever it is. Because now you're accessing the statement, I give myself permission to, is accessing the energy of the inner child. A child who wants to go do something normally had or has to ask their parent or a caregiver or a teacher or a coach for permission. They need to be allowed to go do it. So when you're having these emotions come up that you don't really understand, simply acknowledge what it is. And remember that you, in your wholeness, are in charge of your emotions. They don't control you. You are in charge of them. So even if I feel anxious because of whatever that may be, I give myself permission to go sing karaoke anyway, right? Even if I feel anxious about singing live in front of people, I give myself permission to go sing karaoke anyway. So I'm acknowledging the anxiety and why it's there. And then I'm giving myself permission to do it anyway, which basically says this emotion of anxiety will no longer control my choices. I'm not going to allow my emotions to take charge of my choices. And that hack of a statement on your brain, what it does is it keeps this rational mind online while your emotional brain is processing something. So both are running at the same time. Because when someone shuts down in shame, right, they want to go do something that brings them joy. That wall comes up, they hit it because they're scared, they're anxious, whatever it may be. There's an association from their past with whatever that experience is that they're trying to create for themselves. And then they use that statement which says, I'm not going to allow my emotional brain to take over my rational mind. I'm going to acknowledge that there's emotions presenting. Even if I feel this, I give myself permission to this. It is a powerful practice to start using this in your life so that when you're in times of this is what I want to do, but I'm not doing it, or it'll show up for in work that I do of, I know I need to do this, but it's like I can't make myself do it. I'm sure you guys have had experiences like that. I know it would be good for me to do this, but it's like I can't get myself to do it. Right? That's, to me, whenever there's something being stuck, there's a trauma, there's an unprocessed energy showing up that's trying to get attention. And if that's not the place to process it, then you simply use the statement. Even if I feel whatever that is, I give myself permission to do this anyway. Even if I feel tired. Tired's a sneaky one because people use the excuse that they're tired even when they're really not. Almost as a get out of jail free card. Oh, I'm tired. Are you really tired? Or are you stuck? Is your nervous system in that faint or freeze response and you can't get it moving? Sometimes we are tired and we need to rest. A lot of the times your ego mind is using tired because of something else that's going on that's in the way of you taking action in what you say you want to do. So let's hear from you guys. Hi, Laura. I'm not sure if you're still here. Thank you for saying hi. Hi, Lee. Hi, Christina. So let's talk about this a little bit. I want to hear from you, if you're with me, on where you notice that you want to do something. I want to go, train for a 5K. And every time I start thinking about it, I get stuck. Right? What are these things that come up for you around, I want to align my life with joy, but what is that? I want to hear the pieces of it. If you're willing to share with me, please type it in and let's work through a piece here for someone. Okay. Again, these aren't complicated processes. Our ego makes it complicated because our ego doesn't like to change. Your ego, even if it's suffering, is happy in a really unhealthy way in the state of suffering. But there's an inner desire to live life in a different way. There's an inner desire to say, well, why are they living life with so much joy? Right? And it looks so easy for them. It's not easy, and it's not luck. They've intentionally created a life. They have intentionally said, this is how I'm going to invest my energy every day. We are all given the same amount of time in a day. Nobody gets an extra minute. What you choose to do with that time will determine how you're creating your life. So I challenge you from a place of inspiration and hope and motivation to look at what you're doing with your day and say, if I want my life to feel really peaceful, Am I engaging in things in my day that help me feel peaceful? And there'll be some arguments on this that say, well, we don't want peacefulness to come from activities or situations. But absolutely, we do. We are just as much human as we are divine. And it is through that gift of being human that we experience life. And if we can start to harness the power of our humanity to create a life that we love through the experiences of our divinity, through our connection to God's grace, to the presence of love, support in our life, now we have even more power within us. If we're saying we want to feel peaceful every day, and I'm not going to allow my circumstances to determine whether I feel peaceful, that's a different depth of peacefulness. That's contentment. That's the ability to abide in peace, a peace that surpasses all understanding, no matter what is happening in my life. Even in those experiences, the humanity of someone, the ego of someone is still there. And it's still acknowledging that they're feeling peaceful. But you don't have moments where your ego consciousness is gone for long periods of time. Otherwise, we wouldn't exist as humans. So we can use it to create the best life that we can. We can choose to use our ability to make decisions in our life to change how we're living our life. All right. Anyone have any comments, curiosities, questions on this? I would love to hear if anything is showing up for you, if there's any ahas, awarenesses, anything that you're like, oh, right, I can do that. I can create a joy list, and I can start noticing the things in my day-to-day life that bring me happiness. And then I can choose every day to engage in one of those things. And then as I stack those days, I start noticing that I am creating my life. And that even if stressful situations happen, because they will, I am in charge of my emotions. I get to decide how I want to show up in this. And when I find myself getting stuck, I can say, even if I fill that in, I give myself permission to whatever it is that you need to do for yourself. Okay. All right. I have a few more minutes, and if there's anything coming up for anyone, let me know. Thank you for those that are still with me. And if I'm not seeing anything come in, then we will just end the time for today, and I'll leave you with that to kind of ponder. Are you willing to do what it takes to have what it is that you say that you want? Right? Are you willing to do what it takes to have what it is that you say that you want? And when you say yes to that, yes, I am willing to do what it takes to have what it is that I say that I want. Now you become the co-creator of your life. Life is no longer happening to you. Life is happening for you. And you get to make the intentional decisions to create the life that you say that you want. That is an internal power that is so motivating. It is so driven by the desire of the soul. And then you're going to take action forward. And you're going to see the ripple effect of your life start to change. So I encourage you to reflect on that question, to make your joy list, and then to choose every day to take action on one item on that list so that your life starts aligning with the vibration of joy. And then from that place of joy, stacking those moments, stacking those days, so that when you are stuck, you have a new neural pattern in memory that says, even if I'm feeling anxious, I can choose to do something that helps me experience joy. Right? So you become the power over your emotions and your thoughts and your experiences instead of feeling like you are subject to their circumstances. Okay, my friends. Thank you for those that joined. If you watched back on replay, let me know. I would love to hear your insights, your thoughts, your awarenesses, anything that may have shown up for you. I will see you again next week, same day, same time, and wishing you all a very blessed week. Take care.